It doesn't start with something dramatic. It starts with a quiet choice, a habit you've been told is healthy, something you've repeated for years, maybe even decades, something that made sense in your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s. But now, your body's changing, and the rules you once lived by are no longer working in your favor. You wake up tired, you stand, but it takes a moment. You forget little things. You feel slower, heavier, more distant from the vitality you once took for granted, and you tell yourself, it's just age. But what if it's not? What if 5 things you're doing in the name of health are actually draining you? What if the reason your energy's low, your joints ache, your muscles soften, your memory fades, isn't aging, but misdirection? Because here's the truth. The body after 60 is not broken. It's responsive. It's listening. And many of the habits we were taught to trust, the ones that were branded as wellness, are now working against us. Let's start with the first. Skipping breakfast. Some call it intermittent fasting. Others say, I'm just not hungry in the morning. For decades, the advice was to eat less, skip meals, control weight. But the biology of a 60-year-old is not the biology of a 30-year-old. What helps one age group lose weight can cause another to lose strength. Because here's what's happening under the surface. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at processing protein. It's called anabolic resistance. It means your muscles don't respond as strongly to protein unless you hit a certain threshold. And that window is most sensitive in the morning. Skip breakfast, and you're not just missing calories. You're missing the opportunity to trigger muscle growth, stabilize blood sugar, and calm morning cortisol. You're telling your body, hold back, conserve, stay in stress mode. A study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that seniors who ate a high-protein breakfast had improved muscle protein synthesis and better insulin sensitivity, compared to those who fasted or ate their largest meal later in the day. Let me tell you about John. 73, retired engineer. Thought he was doing everything right, walking every day, drinking black coffee, skipping breakfast to give his gut a break. But his legs felt weaker. He was losing weight. Not the good kind. His doctor said, normal aging. But when we looked at his routine, we found the problem. He was underfed, especially in the morning. We added a simple shake, whey protein, almond milk, spinach, and cinnamon. 30 grams of protein before 9 a.m. That's it. Within 3 weeks, his energy returned. His posture changed. His wife said, "You're walking like you used to." He wasn't doing more. He was doing smarter. The second habit is even more ingrained, eating low-fat everything. We were told for years that fat is the enemy, that cholesterol kills, that low-fat yogurt, skim milk, and fat-free crackers were the key to a healthy heart. But the science has shifted, and if you're still living by that old rulebook, your body is paying for it. Because fat, the right kind, is not just safe, it's vital. Your hormones, your brain cells, your nerves, even the lining of your cells, all rely on fat. And as you age, the need for high-quality fats goes up, not down. What your body can't afford anymore is inflammatory fat, the ones hiding in low-fat processed foods. When food manufacturers take out fat, they replace it with sugar, gums, thickeners, and refined starches, all of which spike your blood sugar and feed inflammation. A meta-analysis in The Lancet in 2017 showed no significant link between saturated fat and heart disease in older adults, but did show a strong link between high carbohydrate intake and increased mortality. Marilyn, 68, had been eating light for decades. Low-fat yogurt, low-fat cheese, margarine instead of the butter. But she was always tired. Her moods dipped, her skin felt dry, her joints ached. When she started adding avocado, wild salmon, extra virgin olive oil, real fats, everything shifted. She called it her mental reboot. Her hair thickened, her sleep deepened, her balance improved. That wasn't coincidence. That was chemistry. Habit number 3 hides behind good intentions. Over-exercising, or exercising the wrong way. You've been told to keep moving, and that's true. But what kind of movement? If you walk for an hour every day but never challenge your muscles, if you stretch but never engage your core, if you push through joint pain thinking no pain, no gain, you're not helping your body, you're exhausting it. After 60, your muscle fibers respond best to resistance, to challenge, to short, intentional bursts of work followed by rest. What your body needs now isn't long cardio sessions, it's activation. A study in the Journals of Gerontology found that seniors who did just 10 minutes of resistance training 3 times a week gained more strength, better insulin sensitivity, and lower inflammation markers than those who walked daily without resistance. There's a man named George, 80 years old, used to jog every day until his knees started aching. Then he switched to swimming, still felt weak. One day, his grandson asked him to lift him, and he couldn't. That moment broke him. So we started small, bodyweight squats, seated resistance band rows, wall push-ups, twice a week, 10 minutes. Within 8 weeks, he picked up his grandson again. I didn't feel old, he said. I felt like a man. Because exercise isn't about time, it's about signaling. And your body listens to signals, not slogans. The 4th habit is one almost no one questions, because it sounds healthy. Drinking too much water at the wrong times. Hydration is essential, but after 60, your kidneys, your heart, your electrolyte balance, all become more sensitive. Chugging water, especially in large amounts without minerals, can dilute sodium levels, disrupt digestion, and even cause lightheadedness or muscle cramps, especially if you're taking medications that already affect your fluid balance. The key is mineral-rich hydration, small sips throughout the day, and starting the morning not with 32 ounces of plain water, but with 12 ounces of water plus a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon to signal to your body, we are replenishing, not flushing. Florence, 75, thought she was doing everything right. I drink a gallon a day, she said proudly. But she was dizzy, her legs cramped, her blood pressure dropped when she stood. The issue? Overhydration without minerals. We added electrolytes. Cut her water to reasonable intervals. Within 5 days, she said, I feel stable again. Not less water, better water. Because hydration isn't about volume, it's about absorption. And now, the 5th habit, the hardest one to admit. Worrying in silence. That may not sound like a health habit, but it is. Because stress isn't just in your head, it's in your bloodstream. Chronic, quiet stress raises cortisol. And cortisol, unchecked, weakens bones, shrinks muscle, spikes blood sugar, fogs the brain, and feeds inflammation. Many seniors carry the weight of stress without calling it stress. They call it concern or responsibility, or just how life is now. But it sits in the nervous system. It changes how your body absorbs nutrients, how your gut functions, how you sleep, how you heal. And if you don't discharge it, it builds. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that older adults with elevated cortisol levels had significantly lower hippocampal volume, the part of the brain responsible for memory, and higher markers of systemic inflammation. But here's the hope. The body also has a switch to reverse that stress. The vagus nerve, your parasympathetic nervous system, the built-in brake pedal that tells your body it's okay to rest now. And the fastest way to activate it? Breath. Box breathing. 4 seconds in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Gratitude journaling. A 2-minute note each morning of what you have, not what you've lost. Gentle humming, laughter, singing, even splashing cold water on your face. All of these, backed by research, calm the body and reduce systemic inflammation. David, 79, used to lie awake at night thinking of all the things he couldn't do anymore. He called it the quiet grief. But we gave him one ritual. Breathe slowly for 2 minutes every morning before breakfast. That's it. After a month, he said something that stopped me cold. My body feels heard again. That's what stress relief does. It's not fluff, it's function. Because your body isn't just muscle and blood. It's memory, it's emotion, it's rhythm. And when the rhythm is off, even the healthiest habit can do harm. That's the paradox. The habits you were told would help, skipping meals, low-fat eating, constant cardio, guzzling water, burying your stress, they might have worked when you were young. But now, they need to be rewritten. And rewriting them doesn't take a new life. It takes a new morning. And we're not done yet. Because now that you know what to stop, we need to explore what to start. What replaces those habits? What brings strength back? What brings clarity back? What brings you back? That's where we go next. Because knowing what drains you is only half the story. The other half is how you begin again, with wisdom, with rhythm, with power. It's not about cutting everything out. It's about recalibrating. Understanding that the body over 60 is not a failing machine. It's an instrument tuned differently. And what once felt like wellness might now be quiet sabotage. But here's the shift. Once you stop doing what weakens you, you create space to do what strengthens you. Not just physically, but biologically, emotionally, even spiritually. Take breakfast again. When you stop skipping it, you don't just fill a plate. You start a chain reaction. You lower cortisol, improve insulin sensitivity, activate mTOR, the molecular switch that tells your body to build muscle, not lose it. That single change speaks to your entire system. We saw this with Helen, 67, widowed early, spent years nibbling on toast or just coffee in the morning, thinking less food meant less weight. But she was shrinking in places she didn't want. Her arms, her legs, her confidence. Her daughter brought her in. She doesn't look like herself anymore. We made one change: 2 eggs, sautéed spinach, half an avocado, and a small cup of berries, before 8:30 a.m. That's it. 3 weeks in, she said her legs didn't tremble on the stairs anymore. Her appetite stabilized. Her brain felt clearer. It wasn't a diet. It was a signal. A message to her body. Build again. And it's the same with fats. When you stop fearing them and start choosing the right ones, you don't just protect your heart. You fuel your brain, your hormones, your joints. Every membrane of every cell is made from fat. And if you starve it, you don't just age faster, you dull. That's what happened with Susan, 72. Lived by the old food pyramid. Avoided anything oily. Ate rice cakes, low-fat milk, dry turkey sandwiches. Her words were, "I don't want to get fat." But she couldn't sleep. Her memory slipped. She felt flat, not sad, just distant from herself. We reintroduced fat. Olive oil on her vegetables, almond butter with her apple, a piece of wild salmon twice a week. Her mood lifted. She laughed more. Her skin regained elasticity. She said, "I feel warm again." That wasn't comfort food. That was connection. Because food isn't just fuel, it's information. The same holds true for movement. When you let go of the belief that you need to burn calories, that you need to sweat to make it count, that walking for hours will keep you strong, when you let that go, you make space for smarter, safer strength. Your body after 60 doesn't want to run marathons. It wants to stay upright. It wants to protect itself when you stumble. It wants to keep climbing stairs without fear. That's not endurance, that's resilience. And resilience comes from muscle. Even 5 minutes of resistance a day can reverse years of decline. We saw this in Luis, 74. Used to be a firefighter. Still had the mindset of pushing hard. He'd jog until his knees burned, then ice them every night. But his strength was fading. We gave him a resistance band and a timer. 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Rows. Squats to a chair. Overhead presses with soup cans. That's it. 8 weeks later, he lifted a bag of mulch without thinking. I felt like I mattered again, he told me, because the body after 60 doesn't need punishment. It needs precision. Even hydration changes when you stop chasing volume and start focusing on quality. Instead of flushing your system with gallons of plain water, you begin replenishing with intention. You sip mineral-rich water. Add sea salt to a glass in the morning. Infuse it with cucumber or lemon. You drink to support your nervous system, not to drown it. Charles, 80, was drinking 12 cups a day. His daughter said, "He's always in the bathroom, always lightheaded." But his sodium levels were low. He wasn't dehydrated, he was imbalanced. We cut his water in half, added trace minerals, and had him sip slowly throughout the day. By week 2, his balance improved. He wasn't anxious when standing. "I feel grounded again," he said. Water is life, but only when it's used wisely. And then there's stress. When you stop pretending that stress is just part of life, when you stop swallowing your worry and calling it stoicism, when you give your nervous system room to breathe, to pause, to exhale, you realize how much of your decline was never about aging at all. It was about pressure, invisible pressure, emotional load, loneliness, guilt, fear that if you stop holding it all together, everything will fall. But the truth? Nothing is heavier than pretending you're fine when you're not. You don't need therapy. You need space. That's what changed for Anita, 65, newly retired. Everyone thought she was enjoying her golden years, but inside, she felt flat. "I miss being needed," she said. We gave her a practice. Every morning, sit in silence for 3 minutes. No phone, no TV, just breathing, hands on her heart. Then, write one thing she was grateful for, one thing she wanted to feel, and one thing she could let go. She cried the first week. By the second, she said, "I'm not just retired, I'm alive." Because healing doesn't always start with food. Sometimes it starts with feeling. That's the thread through all of this. Every habit you stop, skipping meals, fearing fat, over-exercising, overhydrating, swallowing stress, is not just about removing harm. It's about making space for return. Return of vitality, return of strength, return of presence. And as your body begins to trust you again, as it hears new signals, it responds faster than you think. You eat with care, and your gut calms. You move with purpose, and your back holds steady. You breathe with intention, and your sleep deepens. You hydrate with wisdom, and your energy stabilizes. You express what's inside, and your mind clears. This is not reinvention. This is remembrance of who you were before the noise, before the fear, before the decline became the story you told yourself. You are not broken. You are recalibrating, and the tools are not distant. They are already in your home, already in your hands, already in your morning. Now comes the final turn, because letting go of what weakens you is only the beginning. What comes next is the blueprint for rebuilding, not just what to avoid, but what to embrace, not just how to stop aging fast, but how to age strong, age sharp, age awake. We've cleared the space. Now we fill it with something extraordinary. You've let go of the low-fat dogma, of the skipping meals and overhydrating, of the mindset that motion equals punishment, of the quiet stress you carried like armor. You've stopped giving your body mixed signals and started learning its language again. And now, finally, you're standing in the clearing, where real strength can take root. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Healing doesn't begin with hustle. It begins with listening. And now that your body isn't bracing for the next hit, now that it's not fighting poor fuel, chronic fatigue, or the slow corrosion of well-meaning habits, it's ready to respond. So, what do you give it? You give it rhythm. You give it a routine so clear, so simple, so repeatable, that your body doesn't just survive the day, it learns how to trust the next one. This starts before sunrise, before you speak, before you check the weather or your email or your pain. You sit up, you breathe, slowly, fully. You place your feet on the ground and say quietly, "Today, I nourish. Today, I don't run from my body, I return to it." You stand, you move gently, circles with your arms, rolls with your shoulders, a few slow heel raises, maybe a wall push-up, just enough to tell your body, you are still needed. Then you hydrate, not gallons, not in a panic, but a tall glass of water with a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon. Electrolytes, not emptiness, replenishment, not depletion. And then you feed the flame, not sugar, not dry toast, not low-fat yogurt with 10 ingredients you can't pronounce. Real food, protein, fat, fiber, something that speaks the language of longevity. You build a plate that tells your mitochondria, wake up. That tells your muscles, stay here. That tells your brain, we're safe now. You feed with intention, not impulse. Eggs and greens, chia pudding, a protein shake blended with flax and frozen berries. It doesn't matter what it is, it matters what it says. Because your breakfast isn't a ritual of routine, it's a message. And your body listens louder in the morning than at any other time of day. This rhythm continues. Midday, you move again. Not with guilt, not with a calorie counter in your hand, but with a sense of joy, a walk in the sun, a resistance band, a slow, deliberate set of chair squats. 10 minutes is enough. Because strength doesn't come from hours, it comes from consistency. You feel your body carry you, not just through the house, but into life again. You eat again. Balanced, warm, nourishing, not rushed. You taste it, you chew. You breathe between bites. You give your digestion time to work, not race. Your blood sugar thanks you. Your energy stays steady. Your inflammation stays quiet. And maybe the biggest shift? You rest. Not just at night, but before you reach the point of collapse. You pause. You close your eyes. You take 3 slow breaths before dinner. You dim the lights. You turn off the screens after 8. You read. You stretch. You let your nervous system come down from the hum it's been trapped in for decades. And at night, before sleep, you put a hand on your chest again. You remember who you are. You thank your body. You forgive yourself for every year you didn't know better. And you promise, we begin again tomorrow. This is the blueprint of someone rebuilding from the inside out. And here's what happens when you live like this. Your joints soften, your belly flattens. Not because you're dieting, but because your gut is finally calm, your thoughts clear. Not because your memory is perfect, but because your brain is no longer fighting a fire. Your grip returns, your spine lifts. You feel not like someone declining, but like someone arriving. And that feeling, it's not just biology, it's power. Power in the truest sense. The ability to move through the world with dignity, energy, presence. You walk into rooms differently. You speak differently. You choose differently. Not out of fear, but out of reverence for what you're still capable of. That's the miracle. You don't need more rules. You don't need another doctor telling you to watch your sodium while handing you processed hospital food. You don't need the food pyramid, you need a compass, one that points back to you, your strength, your rhythm, your voice. And that voice now, it speaks clearly. It says, no more habits that shrink me, no more skipping meals that leave me hollow, no more fat-free lies that dry out my hormones and my mind, no more walks that drain me and leave my muscles untouched, no more overhydration that dilutes the very minerals my heart needs to beat strong. No more quiet stress kept in a jar on my nightstand like it belongs there. Because I know now, every choice is a signal, and every signal shapes the way I age. So I choose differently. I don't chase youth. I chase vitality. I chase clarity. I chase mornings that feel like invitations, not obligations. I chase meals that nourish instead of numb. I chase strength, not in numbers, but in how I rise, how I stand, how I speak to myself in silence. Because the strongest people I've ever known weren't loud. They were consistent. They didn't move fast. They moved with purpose. And they didn't fear aging. They aged on purpose. That's what you get to do now. Start small. Start now. And let the changes echo louder than any promise ever made to you by a product or a program or a pill. Because your body doesn't need more products. It needs more truth. It needs more care. It needs more rhythm. And if you give it that, it will rise. Even now. Even after everything. Especially after everything. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. You're not behind. You are standing at the most powerful crossroads of your life. And tomorrow morning, when your feet touch the floor, let that be your moment. The moment you stop breaking yourself quietly with healthy habits that never really served you. The moment you begin again. Strong, clear, certain. Because aging isn't your enemy, and decline isn't your destiny. You are still building, and this life is still yours to shape.